Las Vegas is known for its bright lights, high stakes, and endless entertainment, but behind the glamour, a crisis is spiraling out of control. As of this year, over 16,000 people in Las Vegas are experiencing homelessness, and shockingly, more than half are unsheltered, living in tunnels, cars, or out on the blistering streets.
Did you ever work at any strip bars?
Back in Iowa, I did. That's where I'm originally from. Strip clubs out there by the airport.
And what age did you start doing that?
18.
In fact, Clark County now ranks among the top 5 regions in the U.S. for unsheltered homelessness per capita, a reality that most tourists never even notice. How did a city built on billion-dollar casinos and non-stop tourism become a ground zero for urban poverty? What's happening just a few blocks away from the glitzy strip? And why are more and more people falling through the cracks every day? The answers might surprise you, and they reveal deep cracks in the American system itself. In this video, we're breaking down 10 eye-opening reasons why homelessness in Las Vegas is exploding, and why the situation is far worse than you think. Stay with us. Number 10, the mirage of tourism wealth. On the surface, Las Vegas looks like a city of riches, billion-dollar resorts, sold-out concerts, flashy cars, and people throwing down stacks of cash at poker tables. But that shiny image? It's a mirage, because just beyond the neon glow, thousands of people are sleeping on sidewalks, digging through dumpsters, and trying to survive in a city that profits off dreams, but offers very little reality. The truth is, most of the jobs created by Las Vegas's tourism industry are low-paying service roles. Hotel housekeepers, waiters, valets, security guards, and casino staff. Many of these jobs pay close to minimum wage with no healthcare, no benefits, and no real stability. And when the cost of rent has jumped nearly 40% in just 5 years, even full-time workers are being pushed out of their homes. It gets worse. Because Las Vegas is so reliant on tourism, it's also extremely vulnerable to economic swings. A single event, like the COVID-19 pandemic, wiped out thousands of jobs overnight. And when people lose income here, they often lose everything. There are no strong safety nets, no backup plans, no second chances. So while tourists come and go, sipping cocktails in rooftop pools, locals are falling deeper into a crisis that's nearly invisible. And the most dangerous part? Most people don't even realize it's happening. Homelessness in Vegas doesn't always look like what you'd expect. Sometimes it looks like a casino employee who showers at the gym and sleeps in their car. Or a single mother working double shifts, unable to afford her rising rent. The city may be built on illusion, but for its growing homeless population, this nightmare is very real. Number 9, a broken rental market. If you're not from Las Vegas, you might assume housing here is cheap. It's the desert, right? But here's the brutal truth. Vegas rent prices have exploded, with some areas seeing a 40% increase in just a few years. Studio apartments that used to cost $700 are now over $1,200. For many working-class residents, that means spending over half their paycheck just to keep a roof over their heads, if they can afford one at all. So what happened? A combination of factors created the perfect storm. First, investors and corporations started buying up affordable housing, turning once reasonable neighborhoods into overpriced rental hubs. Then, local zoning laws made it difficult to build new affordable units, limiting supply just as demand skyrocketed. On top of that, wages haven't kept up. Most low to middle income jobs in Vegas haven't seen significant pay raises in years. Now, even people with steady jobs, restaurant staff, cleaners, rideshare drivers are getting priced out. And when they lose their homes, there's often nowhere else to go. The waiting list for affordable housing is months, even years long. Shelters are full. So many people turn to living in cars, motels, or even the storm drain tunnels beneath the city. Think about this. In Las Vegas today, it's entirely possible to work 40 to 50 hours a week and still end up homeless. That's not just unfair, it's a sign that the system is broken. Housing is no longer a basic right, it's become a luxury. And the worst part, there's no sign of it slowing down. As long as housing remains unaffordable and unchecked, the homelessness crisis in Las Vegas will only grow, silently and steadily, just beneath the city's glittering surface. Number 8. Mental health crisis with no net. Walk through downtown Las Vegas on any given day, and you'll see people talking to themselves, pacing in circles, or sitting silently in the heat with blank stares. These aren't just scenes of poverty, they're signs of a mental health crisis with no support system. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, a significant portion of the homeless population struggles with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, PTSD, or severe depression. Many of them are undiagnosed, untreated, and left to navigate life on the streets completely alone. In Nevada, which ranks among the worst states for mental health services, resources are so limited that even those who seek help often end up on waiting lists that lead nowhere. Las Vegas's mental health infrastructure is chronically underfunded, and outreach programs are overwhelmed. Mobile crisis units can't keep up. Inpatient beds are scarce. And after discharge, there's often no follow-up care, no housing assistance, and no path to stability. People simply get released and end up back on the streets worse off than before. The result is heartbreaking. People who should be in treatment are instead wandering in public spaces, misunderstood, feared, or completely ignored. Without support, they're vulnerable to violence, arrest, or deadly medical complication. And when mental illness is left untreated, it becomes nearly impossible to hold a job, find housing, or access basic services. Las Vegas is a city built for distraction, flashing lights, loud music, constant movement. But for those struggling with serious mental illness, it's a lonely, chaotic place where their suffering is hidden in plain sight. Until we take mental health seriously, with real funding, real care, and real follow-through, the streets will continue to serve as a cruel substitute for hospitals and healing. Number 7. Extreme heat equals extreme vulnerability. Las Vegas isn't just hot, it's dangerously hot. In the summer, temperatures regularly soar above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius, and on some days, the asphalt can reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause second-degree burns on bare skin in seconds. For most of us, it's uncomfortable. For the city's homeless population, it's life-threatening. Without shelter, access to shade, or consistent water, people living on the streets are exposed to severe dehydration, heat stroke, and burn injuries. According to Clark County's 2023 Coroner's Office report, more homeless individuals died from heat exposure than from any other cause that year. A statistic that rarely makes the news but should shock us all. Imagine trying to survive a Vegas summer with no air conditioning, no running water, and no place to rest. Public spaces often have hostile architecture, benches designed to prevent lying down, or water fountains removed to discourage loitering. Even shade is hard to come by, and city ordinances make it illegal to sleep in many public areas. It's not just difficult to survive the heat, it's criminalized. Shelters often fill up quickly, and many of them don't stay open during the day, forcing people back onto the scorching streets until nightfall. Emergency cooling stations exist, but they're scattered and underpublicized, and many homeless individuals don't even know they're available. This isn't just about discomfort, it's about basic human survival. Las Vegas is one of the fastest warming cities in the US, and climate change is only making things worse. Every summer becomes deadlier, and without a long-term plan to protect the city's most vulnerable, more lives will be lost, quietly, in the heat without a headline. Number 6. Failed shelter systems. At first glance, it seems like Las Vegas has shelters. So why are so many people still sleeping on sidewalks, in tunnels, or curled up behind buildings? The answer is heartbreaking. Many people are actively avoiding shelters, not because they want to, but because the system is failing them. Shelters in Las Vegas are often overcrowded, under-resourced, and sometimes even dangerous. People report having their belongings stolen, being physically assaulted, or enduring verbal abuse. Many shelters separate families, don't allow pets, and impose strict curfews, which can be impossible to follow for someone juggling an unstable job or dealing with trauma. For many, sleeping outside feels safer and more dignified than risking what happens inside those walls. There are also strict eligibility rules. Some shelters require proof of residency, government-issued ID, or even a negative drug test, barriers that most homeless people can't meet. Others turn away individuals with a criminal record or untreated mental illness, which excludes a huge portion of those who need help the most. Even when someone does get a spot, it's usually temporary, often limited to just a few nights. There's no guarantee of a long-term plan, no access to permanent housing, housing programs, and little in the way of counseling or employment support. People cycle in and out, from shelter back to the street, then maybe to jail, then back again. It creates a system that's reactive instead of restorative, putting band-aids on a wound that needs real healing. Shelters should be a pathway out of homelessness, not just a place to crash for the night. But in Las Vegas, that pathway is broken, and for many, it's not even worth stepping onto. Number 5, criminalization of poverty. In Las Vegas, being homeless doesn't just mean struggling to survive. It can also mean breaking the law. In recent years, the city has passed ordinances that make it illegal to camp or sleep in public spaces, especially near the tourist-heavy downtown and the Strip. For people with nowhere else to go, simply lying down on a sidewalk can result in fines, arrests, or jail time. The idea behind these laws is to clean up the streets, especially in areas with high tourist traffic. But the result is a cruel cycle. Tickets homeless people can't afford to pay, which lead to bench warrants, which lead to incarceration. And once someone has a criminal record, it becomes even harder to get a job, find housing, or access support services. In other words, poverty becomes a permanent trap. Law enforcement is often placed in an impossible position. Officers are told to move people along or remove them from certain zones, even if there's no available shelter space. So instead of outreach, people experiencing homelessness are met with citations and cuffs. Imagine being punished for doing the only thing you can, sleeping outside when you have no other option. This criminalization doesn't just harm individuals, it also wastes taxpayer money. Studies have shown that it's far more expensive to arrest, process, and jail someone repeatedly than it is to offer stable housing and service. But still, cities like Las Vegas choose policing over prevention. The message this sends is chilling. If you're poor, you're a problem to be removed, not a person to be helped. Until laws stop treating homelessness as a crime, thousands will remain stuck in a cycle of punishment instead of progress. If this video opened your eyes or made you think differently, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or stories. We read every single one. And if you appreciate the work we put in, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Number 4, limited addiction recovery services. Addiction and homelessness often go hand in hand, but not in the way many people think. It's easy to blame homelessness on drug use, but in reality, many turn to substances after they've lost everything, using drugs or alcohol as a way to cope with trauma, stress, and hopelessness. And in Las Vegas, getting help is harder than ever. The city has some of the highest rates of methamphetamine and opioid abuse in the country, yet access to affordable, long-term recovery programs is painfully limited. Most treatment centers have long wait lists, and many require insurance, something most homeless individuals simply don't have. Detox programs might only last a few days, with no follow-up care or transition housing. People complete treatment and are sent right back to the streets, surrounded by the same triggers and struggles that led them there. It's like putting out a fire with a cup of water, and then blaming the fire for coming back. To make matters worse, addiction is still treated more like a moral failure than a medical condition. People struggling with substance use are often denied shelter space, services, and support, as if they somehow deserve their situation. But addiction doesn't happen in a vacuum. It thrives in environments where people feel unseen, unsafe, and unloved. Las Vegas has outreach teams and harm reduction advocates doing incredible work, but they're overwhelmed, underfunded, and stretched thin. Without a massive investment in comprehensive, trauma-informed recovery programs, the cycle will continue. People will keep falling, and they'll keep being blamed for not getting up fast enough. If we truly want to solve homelessness in Las Vegas, we can't ignore addiction. We have to treat it, not punish it, and build bridges, not barriers, to healing. Number 3, out-of-state dumping and migration. It might sound like a conspiracy, but it's happening. Las Vegas has quietly become a dumping ground for homeless individuals from other states, turning a local crisis into a national shame. In recent years, multiple reports and first-hand accounts have revealed that cities and hospitals in neighboring states have allegedly bused homeless individuals to Las Vegas, offering them a one-way ticket out of town, with no plan, no support, and no follow-up. Why Vegas? Simple: warm weather, lax vagrancy enforcement, and a perception that there are more resources here. But the truth is, Las Vegas wasn't built to absorb this influx, and its services are already stretched to the breaking point. So when people arrive with nowhere to go, they often end up on the streets within days, more vulnerable than ever and completely alone. It's not just cities doing this. Some prisons and psychiatric facilities have also been accused of releasing patients or parolees with a bus ticket to Vegas. Vegas. Once here, there's no network, no transition program, and no real accountability. These are people who need help the most, and instead, they're sent into the desert with nothing but hope and a backpack. Local shelters and outreach workers have seen the pattern. People show up saying, "They told me there'd be help here," but instead, they find themselves in a place with sky-high rent, overcrowded shelters, and endless heat, and no way back. This isn't just unethical, it's inhumane. Las Vegas is carrying the weight of a national homelessness crisis, and unless other cities start owning their share of the responsibility, the system will remain broken, and the people at the bottom will keep paying the price. Number 2, the collapse of the American dream. When we think of homelessness, we often imagine someone with severe addiction or mental illness, but today that image is dangerously outdated. In Las Vegas, more and more of the homeless are people who did everything right. They worked hard, paid rent, raised families, and still ended up on the streets. Why? Because the American dream is collapsing, and no one's coming to save the people it left behind. These are working parents sleeping in cars with their kids, retired seniors on fixed incomes, priced out of the homes they lived in for decades, gig workers juggling 2 or 3 jobs, unable to afford first and last month's rent. The safety nets, pensions, savings, stable employment, affordable housing have all been stripped away one by one. Now, a single emergency, a medical bill, job loss, or rent increase is enough to push someone over the edge. And once you're out, it's nearly impossible to get back in. Try applying for a job without a fixed address. Try getting housing without a paycheck. Try finding a doctor when you don't even have an ID. For many, homelessness isn't just a temporary situation. It's a trap designed to keep them there. This isn't just about Vegas. It's about a country where millions live paycheck to paycheck, one crisis away from disaster. But in Las Vegas, the cracks are just more visible. The bright lights make the shadows that much darker. What's most haunting isn't the poverty itself. It's how normalized it's become. How easy it is to walk past someone sleeping on the sidewalk and pretend it's not a symptom of something much, much bigger. Until we fix the system, the American dream will remain just that, a dream forever out of reach for those who need it most. Number 1, no way out, a system designed to trap. For many people experiencing homelessness in Las Vegas, the most devastating part isn't just losing their home. It's realizing that there's no way back. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was built, to keep people down, not lift them up. Think about what it takes to rebuild your life. You need an ID, a mailing address, a phone number, clean clothes, and some money. Now imagine losing all of that, not just once, but over and over again. You apply for jobs, but get rejected because you don't have a stable address. You try to get housing, but can't without income. You can't get income without a job. You can't get a job without transportation. And you can't get transportation without money. It's a cruel, circular trap. Even well-meaning programs often come with conditions that are impossible to meet. Sobriety, employment, documentation, mental health stability, all before offering a place to sleep. But how can you stay clean, stable, and job-ready when you're living on the street in 110-degree heat, surrounded by chaos and fear? It's like expecting someone to swim when they're already drowning. For the thousands stuck in this system, hope fades fast. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and eventually people stop trying, not because they're lazy, but because they're exhausted from being punished for being poor. This is the painful truth. Once you become homeless in Las Vegas, the system offers you no ladder, only walls. If we don't start changing the system from the ground up, with housing-first policies, real wraparound services, and compassion over punishment, we're not just failing the homeless. We're failing ourselves. Las Vegas may be the city of lights, but for thousands of people living on its streets, there's only darkness. A silent crisis unfolding behind the glitz and glamour. What we've uncovered today isn't just about one city. It's about a system-wide failure, a warning sign, a mirror held up to the rest of America. We've seen that homelessness here isn't caused by just one thing. It's the result of layer upon layer of broken promises. Unaffordable housing, lack of mental health care, failed shelter systems, addiction without recovery, and a legal system that punishes people for being poor. Even worse, those who are trying to climb out are met with barriers at every step, while the world looks the other way. But this doesn't have to be the future. Solutions exist. We can invest in housing-first models, expand mental health support, fund recovery programs, and most importantly, see these people as human beings, not statistics or inconveniences. Every person on the street has a name, a story, and a dream, just like you. So the next time someone says, "They chose this life," or "There's nothing we can do," remember what you saw in this video.